Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm joined with my father again, and today we're going to talk about Sahebs that fell in love with Delhi.
White
White Mughals.
white Mughals they were called. I want to start with Ochterlony. He had 13 Indian wives.
Yeah, to
And
context we'll give father first, okay? In
David Ochterlony,
1803,
he became the resident of Delhi.
yeah, Britishers wanted Delhi for a long time. When East India Company came to India, they had their eyes set on Delhi. In 1803, the Delhi was under the control of Marathas.
Marathas.
And after defeating the Marathas, the Britishers put a puppet ruler, Muhammad Shah Alam, as the king of Delhi. And to rule that puppet, they kept two officers there, a resident and a deputy resident. David Ochterlony was the first resident, and his deputy resident was William Fraser.
Fraser.
The story of these two people is very fascinating.
The best part of the Delhi's twilight in Delhi is the period they ruled this Delhi, right from
1803 to
1803
1857.
to 1857, you can say. That was the end of Thomas Metcalfe. He was resident. He was son of Charles Metcalfe.
Yeah. He was the enemy, like
He
a
was
work enemy of William Fraser.
Fraser. Opponent, you can say him as. But David Ochterlony loved India like anything, and he got married 13 of Indian women. And daily evening he used to take in the procession. He used to be leading with 13 elephants. On each elephant, one of his wife used to be riding it.
When they got posted in Delhi, they fell in love with the culture of Delhi. They started behaving like Mughals. David Ochterlony married 13 Indian women, and every day for his evening rounds, he used to go with 13 of his wives, and each of them had around the city, and each of them had their own elephant. This was the level of show off, you can say, these people lived.
You can just imagine how it looks on the way. He ruled like a royal himself, as a Nawab. Nawab himself, no, as an emperor himself. Like people, even William Fraser also got married with 5 to 6 Indian women. They were very beautiful one, and
people forget that even though English officers, when they came here, they fell in love with Indian women, they fell in love with Indian culture, and they had like Anglo-Indian kids.
Anglo-Indian kids, the daily evening they used to have the mehfils.
Yeah, they started enjoying mehfils
and dance programs. Best dancers, they used to have the Nach girls and everything during their evening.
Delhi was a city of Nach girls. This is what they claimed.
And according to William Fraser's brother Alec Fraser, he was totally puzzled at looking his brother himself. He had changed so much that he had become totally an Indian. This was very unnatural for those people, because Britishers, they always thought themselves superior. But these people have totally adopted Indian culture, and they started and behaving like an Indian people. And especially William Fraser was thought, when he has converted into Hindu.
Yeah.
To that level he was
William Fraser. William Fraser was born in a very well-settled family in Scotland. He had joined East India Company as an officer. The journey from Britain to India used to take 1 year, and they used to land at Calcutta.
There they used to get training.
Yeah.
And from there, the best people used to be sent to Delhi to rule. And his was ambition. William Fraser's ambition was to become resident one day.
No, the journey from Calcutta to Delhi also used to take 6 months.
It used to take 6 months.
And it was a horrible journey. There used to be marauders, Indian marauders everywhere. They did not sleep also, these officers, at night.
At night, there's thugs.
Yeah.
First, you would see thugs in that route only. From Calcutta to Allahabad, now it is called as Prayagraj, they used to come through ships. The boats, bigger, it was bigger type of boats. From there, they used to come through land on horses and carriageways. And that part was very difficult thing, because there were many marauders, thieves. these thugs, lot of things. But William Fraser was a
Very
very
ambitious.
brave man, and he used to hunt any daily. He used to go for hunting. He had killed many of these lions.
Lions.
And his room, his other brother James used to tell, his room is full of those skins of those tigers and
Lions
lions.
that they had
That-
killed. When these people got posted in Delhi, they fell in love with the culture of Mughals.
Mughals.
They became white Mughals.
White Mughals.
They started wearing Nawabi clothes.
Nawabi
They used to
clothes
wear
and-
only Mughal clothes.
David Ochterlony, he was called Sir David Ochterlony. He was given Sir
Yeah.
title. He had two characters. During office, he used to be a perfect Englishman. But in the evening, he used to totally turn himself into a Mughal nobleman. His dressing and everything, patterns,
His
pajamas and this kurtas, they were all himself viewed as an Indian nobleman. But Britishers were later on. The Britishers became very harsh with this Anglo-Indians and all those things. And they thought their culture, their purity was getting
Washed
lost
away.
In this way. In India, you can see this Brahmins and this, they never liked the one who have got converted. Brahmins and Englishmen, they started hating them. Brahmins also never accepted one who has changed into the Brahmins, means in the sense Hindus. Once he gets converted, they never accepted him into the religion back. This was very wrong thing about even Hindus. So many got converted due to either by
Force.
it is not, you can't call it force.
You're saying
for
talking
the
about
trouble.
English me pen.
Trouble, but another in the way James Skinner became friend of William Fraser. James Skinner was son of his father was a merchandise. He got married to a Rajputana princess.
He was an Anglo-Indian.
Anglo-Indian.
James Skinner was a soldier.
A soldier, a brilliant soldier. He worked for Marathas at the beginning. But when the Anglo-Maratha war started, they kept him away. Therefore, Skinner joined British army and he helped them. Therefore, Skinner got to the post of lieutenant. But William Fraser were very close friends.
Yeah, James Skinner, David Ochterlony, and William Fraser. All these three people lived in the same period, and all these people lived together in Delhi. James Skinner's father was a Scottish man and his mother was a Rajputana. He was a very dark-skinned man.
No, you can say it Moorish type.
Yeah, but when he wanted to get employment, even though he was such a fascinating soldier, such a brave, courageous soldier, he used to be called Sikandar Saab by Indians. All the Indians did not consider him to be like a Firangi, a foreigner. They all loved him like their own. He was very Indian. But the problem...
He was so strong and he was so brave. People in India used to call him as a Sikandar Saab. Sikandar means you can go to that Alexander period. He was called Sikandar first. But later on, Skinner was called Sikandar Saab by those Indians.
No, even though he was such an amazing soldier, like a leader,
Yes.
Britishers did not want him.
Yes.
And Indians also did not want him. This was the saddest part of his life. In spite of having such a great talent, James Skinner always felt left out. The Britishers claimed that he is this Sikandar Saab. Indians love him. How can he be a part of us? And he worked for a long time for the Marathas.
Marathas, and later he worked for Britishers.
Yeah, later on. But Marathas
threw him out. But Britishers also never believed him.
Yeah, nobody believed him.
They never trusted him.
Neither Indians nor...
But due to the Fraser and Ochterlony's friendship, he rose to the post up to lieutenant, which was the highest. But his children were never accepted from Britishers. He sent his children, the one like James Skinner took them to Scotland.
William Fraser and James Skinner were very close friends, and James Skinner used to send his kids to William Fraser's home. William Fraser had
James,
his cousin,
his brother himself, James.
But their family house, I'm telling,
family house
in Scotland.
But that James Skinner,
James Skinner gets married to some other very high rich
James this Fraser only.
James Fraser
Gets married to relative of this Skinner. But she also doesn't like the Skinner children.
Even James Skinner's cousin does not let her own nieces and nephews inside her home. in Scotland. By this, James Skinner becomes very sad. There is a very famous saying that he told, God help the
Because God
my kids.
himself has sent them
All
to
his
earth.
kids
Only
were
God
Indian.
yes.
They looked Indian. Even though they were Anglo-Indian, they looked very Indian. And he was very upset that people treated
Him very
them so
shabbily,
ill
very shabbily.
just
they
because
treated.
of the color of their skin.
Because color of it was not color. The race itself has
Yeah,
got
race only. I'm
itself
telling.
has got devastated and diluted. The race itself, they thought himself has become. There was a loss of feeling. And James Skinner, at least he had many properties.
He was
But
rich.
for other Anglo-Indians, it was horrible for them to live in that period.
Anglo-Indians have just suffered throughout the history.
Yes.
Even now they are suffering.
Even
During
now,
independence they suffered.
suffered.
Before independence, when the East India Company, when the British Raj was
They
there, then
never,
also they were
never
suffering.
accepted them. Britishers never accepted Anglo-Indians.
And Indians never accepted them. That's just because of
Even
that.
many of the now English people who are settled here, England is not giving them the citizenship.
Yeah.
Though they are giving citizenship for Indians there. But
Anglo-Indians
for
do not
Anglo-Indians,
get
they are not
visas.
giving. At the present moment.
Even now,
Even now.
it is a very weird thing.
Weird thing.
They are not accepted here, they are not accepted there. Just because they were born in some race.
No, what you can tell, mix of the different races, they never liked it. Subservient race it was, they used to treat Indians.
Now
Indians were
only
of
it is
low
at this
race.
level, pa. You imagine 200 years ago,
Back.
how horrible it
How
must have
horrible.
been. But William Fraser really liked his friend James Skinner. Fraser has this very beautiful album called Fraser's album that is still in, I think, New York.
Yeah, one pages it costs now up to, if the auctions happen, it takes 8 millions to 10 millions.
Even one
paper.
page of the
That
Fraser album, you can go check it out on Google. Fraser's album has like many pages of very different
those
paintings and like everyday life. If you are interested in art, you can check it out. And
one painting was there about Sir David Ochterlony. He's sitting in the...
he's sitting and smoking hookah in a
Smoking
mehfil.
hookah in mehfil. And these original Britishers, they are seeing from upstairs. They are totally shocked and they disliked him like anything. They were feeling it is much awkward of seeing these scenes. But you can see in that picture, David Ochterlony was enjoying that scene. His smile, his face, you can see.
Papa.
He enjoyed like anything.
The three Sahebs that fell in love with India.
Yes.
That is the title of this video also, okay? The three Sahebs. James
Who loved
Skinner.
India like anything. And that is the actual twilight of Delhi, you can say. And if you go the another book of this Dargah Khuli Khan, Marakhe Delhi, you can see that it is written during Muhammad Shah's period. You might call him Rangila. How Delhi's evenings were so beautiful. That poetry, that naach, that dancing, and those hookah and lovers treating so beautiful women were there. One woman, Ada Begum, she used to roam naked, but she used to get painted her body like that. No one thought she is naked. Such was rich culture. Means rich, it's not, I can't say it as a rich culture, but Delhi was such vibrant at that time.
It was very vibrant. Very right word.
Another one, Noor Bhai, I think.
Yeah, she
was so beautiful. Many of the rich people,
they used to go on elephants to her home, and there were no place to park elephants. So many rich noblemen used to go to this home of this.
So small lane was there to her home.
She was
the road used to get blocked due to this elephant.
Just to see her, just to enjoy her company. She used to host
rich noble persons have lost everything for her.
They literally wrote their life on her.
By her. She was so beautiful. Such was the beautiful thing of Delhi.
It was very weird, but they were enjoying life.
Enjoying life. And the games for poor peoples and some peoples, they used to have games of betting, like partridges fighting. Partridges fighting, that is what we call the teethers. It was a type of game. They used to enjoy that.
Even in old Delhi, some places still these teether
fighting,
pigeon fightings and all
happens.
Delhi is always like this only. Throughout the history, as you read the history of Delhi, you see there is always this element of dark side of humanity.
And also this you can see.
People enjoying their sins.
And one thing, when Nadir Shah attacked Delhi, and massacred Delhi, totally
1720.
devastated and destroyed Delhi, demolished Delhi. More than 1,50,000 people were killed, murdered by him, and he looted totally this Delhi.
Nahi, full I'll tell Papa story, okay? Nadir Shah was defeating Mughals. He defeated them in Punjab, and the Mughals had this truce with him. So Nadir Shah came and stayed outside Delhi. But these Mughals were so clammed up in their ego, they spread this rumor that they had killed
No,
Nadir Shah.
he
Nahi, they first killed his soldiers in the
yes,
marketplace.
he brought only 1,000 people to the palace.
City.
Palace.
Yeah.
Everyone were standing at some.
His entire army was stationed outside Delhi. Only 1,000 soldiers of his went into the city palace.
Bodyguards were around him, and they were took the special places.
And these Mughals,
people, these Mughal soldiers thought only 1,000 we can kill
them. In their
and we-
egoistic mind, we'll talk in the next episode about how dumb Mughals became in the later lives. Mughals, I think the king was Muhammad Shah II
Muhammad Shah,
then.
Rangila.
This was 1720s, I think.
1739.
1739. When
Yes, Nadir Shah
Delhi
attacked.
has only been destroyed 2 times. One by Nadir Shah and another time in 1857.
1850.
When Nadir
Sipahi
Shah,
Martini.
Nadir Shah's all 1,000 soldiers in the city palace get killed. This irritated Nadir Shah at such a level. He had come to negotiate peace offering. Then Nadir Shah kills 1.5 lakh people in Delhi in 24 hours.
24.
He just destroys the city everywhere. Delhi became this massacred place. Everything, the Peacock Throne, everything that was precious in Delhi.
Everything,
Kohinoor.
Kohinoor Dam and
Even
everything they
Kohinoor
looted.
he took away after that. Just because these people did not hold up to their bargain.
Barbar. He looted Delhi, he murdered Delhi.
He killed the
What
Delhi
you
in
can
a
say,
way.
nowadays we speak this about America's this stealth weapons, this carpet bombing. He just
Carpet bombing version of war of back
He
then.
just
Destroyed city.
any person who got in caught of his eyes of his soldiers were
Even-
killed like anything,
even-
butchered like anything.
No, Papa, even now we have such a huge population on earth. Even now, if 1.5 lakh people get killed, it is such a big thing. Back then, he killed 150,000 people.
Yes, yes. The first Delhi's first devastation was of Nadir Shah. And later on, Ahmad Ali Shah came to know about this weakness. He used to regularly
Come and loot and go.
come and loot this Delhi and he used to
Like
go.
an easy prey.
Easy prey.
But the joke is this, even after Nadir Shah destroying Delhi, Muhammad Shah, the king that was ruling Delhi, the Mughal king, he was blind. And even
No, Muhammad Shah was not blind. Muhammad Shah was a Rangila, he was a dancer. He too got killed then only. But
his
later,
next king, no, he was the blind son. No? What?
In the royal palace,
The next successor
the
was a
royal
blind
palace,
guy.
No one started believing anyone. This killing, murdering, also happened in this
No,
royal
Papa,
palace.
the joke was this, the next Mughal king was a blind man. Even though he was blind, the entire city was gone. Mughals had lost everything in their life, but still he maintained 500 women in his harem.
Harem.
500 women, a blind guy is maintaining. That was the horror of the end
During
of
that
Mughals.
period, Marathas gave support for Mughals.
Hmm.
But later on, they got support from British in 1803.
Hmm.
Then this residency and everything. But the real part, what I like to say is about the Fraser's family.
Hmm. Coming back
Fraser's
to
from
Fraser.
first that Edward, he got first. He was a young brother. He got blood.
William Fraser comes and stays in Delhi, and his
brother
brothers come from Scotland, and they all join East India Company. His younger brother,
Edward.
Edward.
He got starting.
Some names call him Thomas also in some books.
No, Edward.
He comes and him and William Fraser are staying in the same home.
home.
Even one day, the older brother William Fraser does not talk to his younger brother.
No one. He was so busy.
He was so busy enjoying life in
enjoying
India.
life, and the work was so much. No, as an deputy residency.
These three people, William Fraser, James Skinner, David Ochterlony, all of them had learned Urdu. They were fluent in Urdu and Parsi. And these people were working their asses off. They were making money. They were trying to grab control of Delhi. They were infiltrating.
They mixed up with Indians.
They were just from with Indians. Their bodyguards were Indians. Everybody was Indian.
Alec and James Both are,
Fraser.
they are horrified because the bodyguards were, initially they were murderers. They were the bodyguards of William Fraser.
The younger
Jats.
brothers of William Fraser, when they come back, and there are still letters of these younger brothers writing back to their father that how my brother has changed. Like he used to hate these marauders, and these marauders are his bodyguards now.
Oh.
And all day he does is hang out with them. He did not even take the time to talk to his younger brothers.
Yes.
So at this point, one of his younger brother gets TB.
But
Tuberculosis.
then it was not called.
It was called consumption back then.
That's consumption.
If you
But he
want
used to spew the blood. Initially, it was not so much, but the doctors were also not clever. He put his brother on the ship. Alec took him back to Scotland, but in the way itself, he got that.
No, Papa. When William Fraser gets to know his brother has got tuberculosis, they send him back to Scotland with another
The same
one of
Alec
his
brother. Alec himself will take him.
He takes him, and on the way, when they go to Scotland, they realize that it is tuberculosis, and he cannot. Tuberculosis was called consumption back then, so he cannot survive. But the younger brother comes back to India. On his way back to Delhi, he dies like a few miles out of Delhi.
Due to the same problem.
From consumption only.
Consumption.
And when this happens, it breaks William Fraser. He
Hates.
literally goes.
Hate.
He starts hating everything. He starts blaming the death of his brother on his own because he did not give him any time. And there were like many letters when the younger brother had complained to his brother, he's not taking care of me. He does not even talk to me. After the death of his brother, William Fraser just goes mad. He starts behaving like a crazy person. He starts killing people.
His only aim was then to become a resident. He becomes, but his another friend, Baksh Khan, he was partner of his mercenaries.
Druggie. He also becomes a druggie. He just keeps smoking opium.
He dies. His friend, also best friend, Baksh Khan also gets died. He was a noble person. And while his children, Baksh Khan children start about disputes on his properties, he throws his elder son, Shamsuddin, out of that property. But Shamsuddin kills him. The horrible part of this was, except James Fraser, all his brothers died
in India. Every one of them that came here.
That's the harsh part, I can say. Except David
Ochterlony later gets transferred because the East India Company starts hating him. He has become a Mughal. These people are called white Mughals only, and they get annoyed by his.
By 1835, William Fraser dies, and Skinner also becomes sad with all those things.
No, Papa. The point is William Fraser's entire ambition in life was to become the resident of Delhi. He was the deputy resident. But he just wanted one promotion. He becomes resident. But at what cost? His entire family dies. There is nobody that he loves. His best friend Baksh Khan dies.
He dies.
After he makes a very rude comment about Baksh Khan's daughter.
They spread that false fake news that he has made a rude comment on Baksh Khan. Simply because Shamsuddin had created, and later he killed.
William Fraser's best friend's son kills William Fraser. And he gets killed on his home only,
while coming to home.
This was the end of William Fraser. So James Skinner,
he was buried in James church.
No,
Skinner
but two conclusions. Okay, David Ochterlony, the biggest Saheb, gets transferred to some other place. He gets called back to Britain, I think.
He lives in.
No, they transfer him out of here because the East India Company starts hating him. Then William Fraser gets killed. The third man, James Skinner, the best friend of William Fraser, after this event, he also becomes depressed. Already his life was extremely sad. He was not accepted here nor there. When his best friend dies, he only buries him. James Skinner has this.
No, he was buried in some other place, but he later shifts it to the cemetery of the St. James Church.
James Skinner's story starts after his. When he joins East India Company as an officer, he starts getting promoted. And James Skinner had started this regiment called Skinner's Horses. He was a master in training horses. His battalion used to be known for their fierce tactics, you can say, courage. They
He was
were.
total fearful. He was
He was
attached
called
for
Sikandar Saab for that
Sikandar
reason.
that
He never tasted defeat only
defeat,
after that.
yes. He never tasted defeat in his all throughout.
One time he has this very near death experience and he survives. Because of that, he builds a church, which is one of the oldest. It is not the
Even
oldest.
it is present. Even now it is
Even now,
present.
when I had gone to Delhi, Papa, I had seen it is called Saint James Church. It is in Old Delhi.
Old Delhi.
You can see the graves of James Skinner and Ochterlony are still beside each other. Imagine being buried.
James and William Fraser.
James Skinner and William Fraser. Yeah. Both best friends are buried by each other. James Skinner takes the body of his best friend and buries in his own church in his cemetery. And James Skinner later dies. He becomes extremely depressed after this.
Yes, sir.
His entire life is this book of sorrows. In that book of sorrows, you can still see a star shining.
Yes,
His
sir.
talent was so immense that even Britishers, after a point, we have to keep this guy.
He was almost all these three people were very good persons, and they had a different.
They
type
loved
of talent,
India.
and they loved India. And this noblemen, they ruled like Mughals. That is why it was called as White Mughals. They were called as White Mughals. But the other part of this Delhi about Durga Khan, you can see, is about this Hijras. They also made Delhi as revelry in everything. About there's certain part you can see these Hijras are totally different from what you can see you can see even in Turkey. You had them in old East Jerusalem.
Hijras were given like very high places back in
Delhi,
Mughal period.
they were Mughal because they were the bodyguards for their Janana. Harems and Janana, what you can. But later they too got.
Even now in India they are suffering. Delhi was this cauldron of culture. You can say the sin is happening there. The culture is.
Everything happened
in such a small city.
You see, even the food culture, which later on went to this Lucknow and to Hyderabad, even you can see that food of Delhi. It is called, when I used to go to my grandmother, she used to say down there, they used to call us as Mughalai. Because we came from that Gulbarga, that Hyderabad part, they used to call even us as Mughalai. Mughalai means we are Mughals. The food, you can even know, we can see the taste of Hyderabad food is very beautiful. Nawab's food.
The culture of noblemen, and its peak was in Delhi. All these places, Nawab, Hyderabad, Oudh,
those governors first they used to settle in Delhi itself. When Mughals become weak, they started to rule these places themselves only. They never gave the yearly.
When Aurangzeb
that is why
died,
after
Aurangzeb, you should not consider them as Mughals only at that point. They were
not getting any money from these people's governors. They kept money for themselves. After Nadir Shah, everyone left this Delhi. They started, one Nawab started ruling from Oudh, one from Murshidabad, near Calcutta.
They all declared independence on themselves. All these Nawabs.
They became rulers themselves. And Hyderabad was ruled by this Nizams. That's why.
No, we are straying away from the topic that these three people that we talked today.
You must add this. The Hijras were the main important part of this Delhi.
Yeah, the culture of Delhi.
As them,
not culture, why am I saying
hermaphrodites there.
Hermaphrodites, you can say. Transgenders these days people are
called. They were called in Europe, they were called as transgender. They were also like this.
Transgenders
they were also not liked by these people and those people.
But they were given very high positions.
They used to, any functions they used to come in, we used to have to pay them money. Like anything, whatever they will ask, we should pay. Otherwise, they will never move from that place.
People have this very weird concept about how East India Company, all these Britishers came to India, how they started hating India. The point is, the Britishers that fell in love with this country, they got killed and they got transferred. The head office, or you can say, the people that used to run East India Company, they never wanted Britishers to fall in love with India. But there are many, many stories where these Britishers just fell in love with India and they married, just like David Ochterlony married 13 women and they love the culture. They did not want to leave India. These people are You can still go
They,
to
they, they
Saint
lived
James
just
Church.
themselves like a nobleman.
They started considering themselves as Nawabs,
Nawabs.
noblemen of India. They only spoke in Indian languages. You can still go to the St. James Church in Delhi and you can see the graves of William Fraser and James Skinner just beside each other. I had read this book and I had gone to Delhi just to see these graves. And it brings a very different perspective in my mind. I had read this history. When I see these graves there, these people were actually alive. These people actually enjoyed this life. And they died horrible deaths.
That is why
also.
Delhi, even after Nadir Shah completely destroyed, once again it started ruling. Because that Delhi had that live presence, you can see.
Delhi is city of jinns. Nadir Shah destroyed in the 1739 and these people came to Delhi in 1803. After 60 years of complete decimation, these people still were enjoying Delhi at such a level.
Yes.
People now, Papa, even now they enjoy Delhi.
During Mughal period, during the Jahangir's period, whole world's GDP, 28% was of India. The best cloths in throughout world was from India. Even now the muslins of Dhaka are the best thing. You can see that 9-yard saris used to sit inside a matchbox. It was such a smooth, 9 yards means you see how much big sari.
It used to get folded into
such that it will be, you have to get it into the matchbox itself.
We'll add this video in this history note, Papa. Back then, when East India Company had come to India, the clothes that were made in India were of such high quality and they were sold at a very, very high price. People used to make...
Britishers later on destroyed this industry because their clothes were no one was going to take.
No, Pa. Britishers, they used to copy Indian clothes and used to write made in India to sell it for a higher rate. Like first copies that we get Initially, they started writing that just because the tag made in India used to sell for much higher. This was what India was.
Indian clothes, throughout world was the Indian clothes used to be there.
No wonder these Sahebs fell in love with India.
That's why. You can love Delhi like any moment you can ask me. I will never stop loving Delhi and expressing my views on Delhi.
Yeah. That's it for today's video. Next video we'll talk about the Mughals. From Shah Jahan we'll end till Bahadur Shah Zafar. Before that, Akbar and all everybody knows kind of. But the peaks of Shah Jahan...
No, that's Shah Jahan we can talk because he built and other is this...
Bahadur Shah Zafar, the end we'll talk.
Bahadur Zafar Shah is no need of... He contributed nothing to Delhi.
No, but his sadness, the sadness of the Mughal period...
Poetry. Poetry flourished during his period.
No, how his end came.
Jauk, Mirza Ghalib, they all were during
1857 we have to talk about the riot. 1803, the residency of Delhi started, and 1857, during the First War of Independence, it ended. After that, the British
But another thing I like to tell you people is, please go through that Morakha Delhi. Means collection, or you can say an album of Delhi, the best pieces.
Yeah, and also check
out
also check out William Fraser's Fraser album on Google. You guys will love it. And if you have any other views and any other thoughts on this Delhi history or any history in the world, you can let us know in the comments. And a lot of you people are watching.
About Delhi, we can talk.
No, we'll read and tell. No, Papa. We can read new books always. And a lot of you guys are watching the video and you're not subscribing. It would be a huge favor if you guys subscribe. Thank you so much thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.